Welcome to race morning. It's the Maidstone Riverside, I can never remember, 10k. It's a nice out and back course. Problem is it is a bit congested because you've got a 10 mile that starts off first, so there's that to contend with. But my PB is actually from this race last year, 42.28. So I think unless I blow up, I should be able to get a PB today. The question is if I can get under 41 minutes. Strava, Garmin and Runner all reckon I can do it about 40 minutes. The weather conditions are perfect. You got a slight breeze, but you know, it's overcast. It's about 10 to 13 degrees, so that's lovely. So I think the plan's going to be go out 4:05 pace and then judge where I get at the halfway point, because it's literally an out and back course. So I think, yeah, stick to that 4:05, try and keep it quite even, don't go out too hot, and then let's see what I can do. Let's see if I can get that PB and if I can get close to that 40-minute mark. Good luck.
And we're off, and the first thing you might notice is this massive downhill at the start, minus 18, gets up to minus 18 at one point, so it's, you know, it throws you into it, and it felt quite dodgy at first. And now I'm just trying to settle into a proper rhythm. But as you can see in the bottom left, I've already gone out a little bit too fast. I always find this course a bit hard to judge my pacing on, to be honest. I always feel like I start off a bit fast with that downhill. But let's try and settle in and get this first kilometre done. So we're into it a bit now. My heart rate is starting to climb. It's going into my aerobic zone, and it's soon going to be hitting the threshold before too long as well. And we've got a few twisty turny little corners at this beginning bit here, but nothing too bad. Just a random trolley there, don't know why. And then we've got some low bridges we need to get through. So we seem to have barreled straight through my threshold up into my maximum zone. So already, less than 2 minutes in, I'm already above my lactate threshold. So yeah, I've gone out a bit too fast and this is going to be tough. So I have managed to pull back the pace a little bit, but I definitely started off a bit too fast. My heart rate seems to be hovering around the 174, 175. My maximum heart rate is 196. So there's plenty of room there, but I am pushing up against my lactate threshold, which means, you know, I can only hold that for a certain amount of time. So hopefully it's not going to climb too much higher. Overall, this is a pretty flat course, and it's quite nice scenery as well, especially when we get outside of the town. But there are these hills that obviously it's an out and back course, so you're going to have to do this again at the end. Short, sharp, but pretty steep actually. So, you know, when you're into your final K and you have to take this on, it's quite zapping, but we'll get to that. That's 1 kilometre done, first kilometre. 3 minutes 58 seconds. That was definitely too fast. Remember, my goal was 4:05. I wonder if it's going to come back to haunt me. Right now it's already starting to burn a bit, and I remember thinking, I can see those guys up ahead. There's at least 1 or 2 people just sticking behind me, but they didn't want to come forward. So my aim right now was to just try and keep those people in sight. Maybe try and move up if I can, but I don't want to push any harder than I am right now because I'm already going too fast. I just want to try and keep them in sight. I'm finding this quite a lot at races recently. I don't know whether it's the certain paces that I'm going for, but I always seem to find myself on my own, which makes it so much harder. I just wish I had someone that was going at the same pace as me and we could take it in turns leading it, just to make it a bit easier. So there are these little up and down little humps. There's 2 of these along the way, and they're not too bad. You just got to get over them really quickly. I can still just about see that group in front of me. I don't think they're getting any further away, and they're definitely not getting any closer. I just want to keep them in sight. Now, you might recognise some of this course because this is the same stretch that I used to pace Michelle to her 5k PB, just going in the opposite direction, and we're obviously, where it's a 10k, we've got some extra added on top, but this is the exact route right now that we were doing before, and it's also open to the public, so I had to do a little bit of shouting just to get around some people. And that's the 2k mark. That was a spicy 3:55. So 10 seconds ahead of my goal. I don't know why I'm not slowing down, because I know I'm going too fast and I'm not going to pay for it. I think I just had a little bit of too much self-belief that maybe, just maybe, if I hold on, I might be able to get that sub 40. Remember I said the 10 milers was starting off about 10 minutes before us? Well, now we are starting to catch them up, so that's something that I can actually target. You know, I can see one and then just try and get past them. That's all I'm focusing on right now, as well as just people out for their daily runs as well. But it just gives me a little bit of a focus rather than just worrying about what time I'm doing or how I'm actually feeling, because right now I'm not feeling too brilliant. I'm not terrible, but I know that when we get to the turnaround point, this is going to really start hurting. Now, it's been a bit of a mixed training week for me. I think overall it's been really good, and it's only been about just over 40k compared to my 60k last week, so it was definitely a little deload. But I did do 2 sessions in there still. I was meant to do 3 workouts, strength workouts, so I ended up only doing 2 because I felt like I didn't want to push it too much. But, you know, that didn't feel like a proper taper. Maybe if I had a full-on taper, my legs might have felt a bit fresher. But, you know, this is a B race, it's not my A goal. So it's mainly just a test to see where I'm at. It's only week 3 of the marathon training as well, so you know, I'm not going to start seeing the massive gains yet. And by now, those people in front, they're just a tiny little dot. They're gone. I can hardly see them anymore, but I know the 10 milers are going to start coming in now. So that's going to be my new focus. And although it's a 10k and it wasn't that hot, I did get quite thirsty, so I'm really glad I took my drinks bottle with me. That's 3k in 4 minutes. Still 5 seconds too fast, but I have managed to slow it down a little bit. Again, I'm thinking, you know, I'm on for sub 40 if I can keep this up. Bit of wishful thinking on my part there. And now we're really starting to hit these 10 milers. So I've got plenty of people to work through. The only thing is, this is quite a narrow, well, the whole course is pretty narrow to be honest, but I really need to pay attention to people coming the other way. I don't know when the leaders for the 10 mile are going to start coming through, but you know, it's going to start getting congested pretty soon. Just got to keep my focus, move through these people. My heart rate has steadied out at 180, which is hard work, but right now it feels just about sustainable. When I used to live in Chatham, this used to actually be my long run route because I used to live on the top of a hill. So do any long run from there, you had to go right to the bottom of the hill and then up the other side and then turn around and do it all again, which wasn't very nice. But this was quite a nice run. Starting actually at the other end to where we're going and then running all the way through Maidstone and all the way back again. It's very nice. I thought they were going to take those gates out there because they do for the park run every week, so that, I'm sure that's probably caused quite a few people some issues. And now we've got the 10 milers, the leaders coming through as well, and they are shifting. Honestly, just what a lovely course, running by the river with all these trees hanging over. This turn I was a little bit worried about as well. It's a blind turn and you don't know what people are doing on the other side, but I think I was just lucky and there was no one either side, which was great. And we just passed through that 4th kilometre, again, another 4 minutes. So I'm somehow managing to hold on. My heart rate is about level. It's going to start really biting soon, but right now
Thank you.
I can hold it, it's okay. And we're now going through all the 10 milers and we've got the leaders coming back in the other direction as well. So I really need to pay attention to what's going on here. That's one of my favourite bits of the course with all the graffiti. Sometimes when I used to come running down here, you'd actually see the people doing it. And it's all legal that side, so it's cool. But apparently it only stays up for a day, maybe 2 max, before someone else comes down and paints something else that's awesome over the top of it. Now we've got the twisty turny section coming up, which are they're tight turns and they're quite narrow paths, so you need to be very careful. This one's nice and wide, but then you can see it's literally a right angle turn and there's not a lot of room. So I was just lucky again that there wasn't anyone coming in the other direction at that point, otherwise that would have been horrible. But again, let's just get these little tight turns done. My pace is dropping a little bit, but it's not too bad, and let's get stuck in. Okay, that's 5k done, and that was a 4:02. So my goal pace was 4:05. Although I'm slowing down a bit, I'm still above my goal pace, which I'm really happy with. And now we're not too far from the turnaround, which I think might be one of the tightest turnarounds I've ever done, because you can see how narrow the path is, so there's not a lot of room to sweep round. And for some reason it just really took it out of me, as you're about to hear. I'll go quiet so you can hear the amount of effort I need to put in for this turnaround.
Thank you.
So it's literally a dead stop and then pure acceleration straight off again, which was horrible, but I actually went a little bit too fast. You know, I got up to speed, and then I think because it was that push up to speed, it's made me just go off a little bit hot. I think I just clocked that on my watch, and now I just need to settle back in because my heart rate has really spiked there, and if it stays this high, that's going to be really hard to get this last 4 and a bit K done. So this is where we need to start being really careful, because now we've got the 10 mile people in the same direction as me. We've got the 10 mile people I've already passed coming the other way, as well as the faster 10k people who are now catching up with these 10 milers. So there's a lot of congestion on the course. This is one of the narrowest bits on the course, so I just need to be careful, be sensible. If I need to slow down a little bit, then I will, but hopefully just little bits like that where I can put in a surge and get round before that corner. But again, that's just going to take just that little bit out of me, which I don't really want to do. A lot of people on the course there, and I have to say some expert manoeuvring done by me just to get round safely but not lose too much speed. Again, somehow I'm still motoring on as well at 350 in the 350s, which is not very sensible. I need to slow down a bit, and hopefully taking this little swig of drink is actually just going to naturally slow me down. Do you think I'm mad for taking a bottle of water on my run with me? Because ever since I started running, I've always taken a water belt. I've just found having the comfort, even though it adds on a bit of weight, just having that comfort of having a drink whenever I want to and being able to avoid all the water stations, just it makes a difference for me. But what do you think? Do you think taking water is a good idea, or do you just rely on the water stations? So that's 6k done, somehow in a 3:56 with that turnaround. I think having the turnaround and accelerating out of it has actually helped me quite a bit. But that again might have been a little bit stupid. Maybe if I'd have stayed around that 4-minute pace, it might have made the end just a little bit easier, but let's see. It's about this point where I notice there's 1 or 2 people just really hanging on my shoulder. They're just behind me. Literally, if I can look down, I can just about see their feet. And I'm thinking, come on, if you're going to do this, go in front of me a little bit and take some of this load off, because they must have known, they could have heard that I was working really hard. And it just felt, I was hoping that they would come in front and lead for a little bit, so that I could, take a break and just lock in with them. It's starting to get really tough now. It's taken a lot more effort just to stay at a similar pace. And saying about pace, that's 7 kilometres in 4:03. So that's one of the slowest splits yet. But again, it's still above my 4:05 target, so I'm still happy with that. It's annoying that I'm slowing down, but that's me paying for going out too hot. So I've pretty much caught up everyone that I'm going to catch up from the 10-mile race. So my strategy is now switched. I'm now thinking of when to start really pushing. I'm thinking I want to get up that hill coming into town, and then I'm going to switch it on. So until then, just try and stick to this. On my watch it's saying about 4:05. I'm like happy with that. Let's just stick to that, get over that hill, and then it's time to kick. But we still got a bit of time. And there goes one of the first guys that was following close behind me. They've suddenly decided it's time to go with just over 2.5k left. And here's the second guy. And I was thinking at this point, can I stick to them? Can I get them to drag me along? But as you can see, with my heart rate is pretty high, and me actually slowing down, I just didn't think I could really keep up with them. I wanted to just keep them in sight again, but if they were going to go, they were going to go. I have to run my own race at this point. If they had done this maybe a K or 2 earlier, I probably would have tried to stick with them, but right now I was feeling just a bit done, to be honest, and I just didn't have it in me just to pick up the pace just that little bit. So that's 8k done, and I have slowed down by only another second. We're on 4:04, and luckily this is actually my slowest K of the race, and it's still under my target. So although I haven't done the perfect race plan negative split, I'm still managing to hang under my target, which I'm really happy with. Less than 2k to go now. Just hold on to this pace, hold on to this 4:05 or quicker, and then see what we can do after we come off that hill. Is it me, or is that the most ridiculously tiny cup of water you've ever seen? With the speed I was going, by the time I'd actually taken it, most of it had spilled out of that tiny cup, and I had the tiniest little mouthful, but that was all I needed, so that was pretty lucky. So by now, the two that overtaken me are quite far in front, especially, well, one of the guys is completely gone. The guy with the yellow trainers, though, I can just about keep him in sight, and I'm thinking, don't let him get any further away. If I can use him as a marker to try and reel in that last kilometre, that would be really helpful. Until then, we got all these other people, these 10-milers that I'm still managing to overtake somehow. I don't know if they're just having a really bad day, but it's still nice to have someone I can just try and chase down and get past. So that's 9k done, and I'm managing to pick it up a little bit, 4:02. So that's good. I've still got a little bit left, and I know this hill's coming up. The other thing is, last year when I ran it, the course was 150, 200 metres further on my watch than it was on the course, so I know I've got that to contend with, but I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm just going by what's on the watch. So we just got to get past this rowing club here, and then I thought I'm not going to completely power up the hill, but I'm going to try and not slow down and then run off the top of the hill. So let's see if we can do that. Yep, seems to be pretty solid, around 4 minutes a kilometre. I think I do go down to about 4:10 maybe, but my heart rate is really starting to climb going up this hill, so I'm just like, get it up there and then I can worry about it, maybe trying to come down the other side. But we've got less than a kilometre to go now, so even if my heart rate does stay high, I know that I'm near the end. I can just really dig deep and push through. So right, we're over the top of the hill, we're through the tunnel. Let's use this downhill to give us a little bit of speed and give it everything I've got for the last, well, it's probably going to be about 800 metres. Mr. Yellow there, he's still in my sights, but can I catch him with only 700-ish metres to go? Now, I'm not a sprint finisher. I don't really have many fast twitch muscle fibres. What I can do is just wind it up slowly over the last kilometre or so. So that's what I'm starting to do now. I've managed to somehow get under that 4 minutes a kilometre again, and I think I'm starting to reel him in just a little bit, just a touch. And so I'm thinking, just every, I don't know, 100 metres or so, just try and pick it up just a little bit. I'll be honest, at this point I was looking at my watch thinking 250 metres, I got just over a minute, I'm probably not going to do that sub 40, and I thought actually it might only be 250 metres to the finish line. Obviously I was wrong about that, but I had a lot of hope at this point, and somehow I'm managing to just keep picking up slightly. He is coming back towards me slowly, but you know, let's try and empty it and get what we can out of this. So I'm managing to get into the 340s now, and that 10th kilometre on the watch was actually a 3:54, so it was the fastest one. And now I'm just going to leave it quiet for you just to see the finish and hear how much I actually give to try and get under this 41-minute mark. There we go, 40 minutes, 52 seconds on the clock. And from looking afterwards, I actually managed to do the first 5k in sub 20 minutes, which I'm really happy with. Obviously, I got my main goal, which is sub 41, and I don't think I was actually too far away from a sub 40. I'd love to do it on a completely flat course with proper GPS so I can judge my splits a little bit better. I should have started off slower, but let's see my reaction about 5 minutes after finishing.
That was a tough one. I went out way too fast. Those first few kilometres, I just overdid it, to be honest, and paid for it later on. Somehow still managed to keep up with that 4:05, and as with last year, the course was long as well, so actually went past the 10k bit in about 40 minutes actually, which is good. So I don't know if it's the course, I don't know if it's my watch was wrong twice in a row, but yeah, really happy with that. Still got a PB, still got my sub 41, which was what my main aim. Yeah, couldn't have gone much better than that. It's still like with runner saying I can do a 2:48 for the marathon, which is basically 4 and a bit times what I've just done, even faster. So Still a bit scared about that. But overall, really happy with that race. Couldn't have gone much better, to be honest, apart from starting off a little bit slower would have been a bit easier. Next week's going to be a bit of a tough one because I've got a job up in Manchester, but I'm still going to try and do, like last week's video, do like a daily update to see how I'm getting on. It's going to be quite tough because Thursday I'm not going to get to do my normal run, so I'm going to have to fit that in tomorrow. So I'm going to have nice and tired legs after this just to do an easy run tomorrow, so I'll see you then.